Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
But
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And this Thursday night recording thing is getting to be a habit, huh?
Not one that I want.
Yeah, you know what? And I was thinking about the same thing. It's not that bad, but again, I get done with work, you get done with work, we both rush this and that, and same deal. It seems like an hour, for me between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m., which is when we're recording my time,
right?
Would be longer, but it's not.
Oh no.
Just not a lot of time. But once again, I mean, when we've done it, obviously last week we had John on, which again, thank you, John, for coming on. That was a lot of fun. But then the 2 weeks prior with Founders Day and whatever it was the week before, we did that. It's always good reason. And tomorrow you're telling stories, so that's why we're doing it tonight.
Right. Yes, I'm going into a church basement and lying.
Well, if you talk longer than 20 minutes, but at that meeting, you can
right.
You can talk for 30, so you
can talk for 30, right?
You got 10 minutes of lies.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be telling any lies in that room.
Right.
No, they'll take me out back and beat the hell out of me.
Yeah, and where he's leading, it's our old home group, which is Who Do You Know? We talk about it all the time. It's the old school kind of I was going to say hardcore old school, and I said hold school.
Old school hardcore. What?
Right. Yeah. It's something old school, something hardcore, I guess.
It is both.
In the best possible way, but those guys have literally known us since the first couple of weeks. I went there week 2. I figured that part out.
Did I.
Oh yeah, okay. So we've been you and I with few exceptions. I mean, that first 90 days we're there all the time,
Yeah.
So
Well, first several years.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That first Friday I went out with Dominic to a meeting out in Avon Lake where I called it Cougarville. There was a bunch of hot older woodmen in there. Hey, I can do this recovery thing.
I wonder if that was also where we went, because we went to Avon Lake that New Year's Eve. That was
Bay Village. I don't know. It was someplace out that way west, one of the hoity-toity suburbs. That meeting. Yeah. Anyway, but yes, there were a lot of attractive women there that were definitely over 40, but it was nice. It was nice. Yeah.
Right, and then you found the men's meeting, and
then I went. Yeah, I probably shouldn't show up there too often because I was really distracted.
Yeah, and that's for sure. And well, I know we've talked about it at least once, if not twice. That one time when that fucking smoking hot chick walked into Who Do You Know?
Yes, I remember.
And I don't remember what color hair she had, but she had
was,
really.
It was kind of auburn.
Was it? But I know she had short jean shorts on, and walked all the way down. Walked down the stairs. Nobody saw her, and then she walked down the aisle. So in front of every one of the guys,
right?
And everyone. You could have just, heard a fucking pin drop in there.
Right.
And then she walks up to the table. So everyone's just fucking staring at her ass. And she's like, is this just the men's meeting? Yeah, you're going to have to go someplace else. We're like, no, you can stay. You can stay.
Nope.
Yeah, but no, that didn't work that way. And you know what? Whatever. It's probably for the best, one way or the other. But
Yeah, for
for
everyone
her,
involved. Yes,
I was going to say
exactly.
it was the best for her. Yeah, her sobriety could have been jeopardized just by hanging out with this bunch of fucking
We'd have
newbies in there.
certainly
But
tried.
yeah, exactly. So, all right, but yeah, so good reason that we're recording on a Thursday. Not that it fucking matters, but
Right.
for everyone else. But I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, this Thursday is being a thing. But yeah, to your point, by the time all said and done, I mean, I don't have to get the episode all put together, so it's not like it takes me all night. But
Right.
still, by the time all said and done, it's for a work night, it gets kind of fucking late, right?
Yes.
So I guess maybe we should just get right to it, Mike. What do you think?
All right. Well, do a reading. Sure, why not?
Back to you, Mike.
Well, thanks, Bill.
I don't know why that makes me fucking laugh every goddamn time. It's so stupid. It's
That's
just
why.
dumb. I know, it's just dumb.
Anyway, this was actually today's from Keep It Simple. I liked it and I went, hell, I'm going to use it tonight. So I am. Here it is. June 20th from Keep It Simple. Order is heaven's first law. Shit, I forgot to look up this guy. But anyway, Alexander Pope. I don't know who that is. Let's see. We need order in our lives. It makes life simpler for us. Life without order would be like driving in a large city without traffic signals. Our lives as addicts were like this. Our lives as addicts were like this. Was like this. Were like this. Okay. We lived with no plan and no order. Now that we're sober, we can put some order in our lives. We can get up every morning. We can make our beds and be on time for work. These little things make life so much easier and nicer. We need this order. It allows us to depend on ourselves. We now look at the 12 steps to bring order to our lives. The steps follow each other as summer follows spring. Do I allow myself to follow the natural order or do I still fight it? Prayer for the day. Higher power, you've put order in this world. Please help me create order in my life. Let me flow within this order instead of being on my own. Action for the day, which we probably won't do. These 12 steps have a natural order. Today, I'll take time to read each step and think about the order found in it.
You know what's funny is when I read that this morning, because again, both Mike and I read that same reading, that Keep It Simple. First of all, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, nice analogy, especially about like driving through a city with no traffic signals. I mean, it's same deal. I always talk about I'm extremely visual, and it kind of put me right in that, I guess, in that whole mindset,
Right.
But that last part, I almost copied that because I'm like, we're recording tonight. I wonder if I should ask Mike about that. Like, did you? Yeah, did you read each one of the steps? And what does it say? Figure out the order or follow the order.
Find the order in each step. Right. No, I did not.
Well, and I think we were given in order some years ago, probably about 14 some years ago, and the order was do them one at a time and do them in the order that they're provided to you.
Right.
So that's the reason I was thinking about writing that down, because I'm like, it was almost again, speaking of think about something dumb. I'm like, that's dumb. I mean, it's 1 through 12. They're in order for a reason. I don't have to fucking think about it,
Yes, but as good alcoholics and addicts, we like to do things our own way. Right. So, we do 1 and then we jump right to 12. I'm going to start being of service.
Right.
Right.
And we've talked about that too, though, that, I mean, technically when it comes down to it, I mean, even from day 1, I mean, we're taught to be, of service. So we're taught step 12, we're taught about step 10, we're taught about, not saying that this is step 10, but, kind of recapping our day and doing all those different things.
Right.
And, I think the biggest thing that, we're told to shy away from is, don't rush out there on, day 17 and try to make amends to somebody, because you're going to fuck it up. But yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, we tend to want to take things out of order. It's like, I don't need this. I'm going to go work on this for a little bit, and
Right.
kind of lounge over here for a little while. So yeah, good point. Good point. But there's a couple of things that I wrote down, and obviously need order. And the way we used to be, we had no plan and no order.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down making the bed and being on time. I'll come back to that. But then
Right.
getting to the point where we're depending on ourselves, and then fighting the order is pretty much what you were just talking about. That kind of fighting that the whole. I think order in general, not order of the steps necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of fighting the man, as they say. So
Right.
so maybe let's start there. Did when you let's say this time around, because I mean this has been so far to this day your successful time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, did you come in right away and feel like you were, I don't know, fighting back, fighting the general order of, or I don't even know how to put it. Were you fighting it all or resisting it all? Do you think?
No, not this time. Which is probably why I'm successful with it. Um, right. No. I mean, clearly we've talked about it ad nauseum on here that, I was concerned about the higher power aspect of the program, but no, I mean, I was beat up. I was done. I wanted to do whatever these people told me to do, because clearly they had something figured out that I didn't. Um, so yeah, I was ready for it, but yeah, and again, early on, man, that surrender was drilled into our heads pretty heavily. Stop fighting, man. And I've talked about it on here. I end my leads with, if you're struggling, if you're new and you're struggling, or you're not so new and you're struggling, stop. Because struggle's just another word for a fight. And if you haven't figured out you can't win, you haven't done the first step properly. And yeah, I can't fucking win. So I'm not.
Right.
So why am I going to waste my time trying to fight something that I know I can't win?
Right. You know what? And it's kind of funny because it is. I don't know. No better way to put it is pissy and as much of a fucking dick that I was when
Mm.
when I first came in.
Hmm.
It kind of surprises me that I didn't push back more and I didn't fight back more.
Right.
But in this I've talked about, but it's still it turned out to be, my stubbornness turned out to be like my biggest savior, I guess, if you want to put it that way, because
Right.
my thought pattern was, fine, fuck it, I'll hang out here for 30 days or 90 days or whatever it was.
Hmm.
That's as far as I could comprehend in my head,
Right.
and I'm like, I'm not gonna say a fucking word. You fucker. And all of this is in my head. I didn't
Sure.
say this to anyone, but
Hmm.
you fuckers can talk to me. I'm just gonna cross my arms. I'm gonna just listen. I'm not saying a fucking word. And yeah, we laugh at it now because literally that's exactly what I should have done.
Right.
And I didn't know any better.
Hmm. Yeah. Right. Take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. Right.
Right.
Sit down,
Right.
shut up, and listen. Yes.
Right, and you know what? Maybe that's why, and I've said this before, but maybe that's why I don't really remember anyone just like putting their finger on my chest and telling me to sit down and shut up, because I was just
Hmm.
doing that.
Right.
I was just being like a sheep, just kind of walking around, following the crowd and doing whatever, and I mean, basically not trying to be a good boy. I
Hmm.
was fucking irritated. I'm like, fuck you all, you know.
Right.
I'm not doing anything. But
Hmm.
listen, which which still kind of cracks me up. And I don't know why I thought about this the other day, but it just popped into my head again when I said follow the crowd. So I think it had to have been the first. God, it had to have been the first morning that I was there when we were eating.
Hmm.
And everyone, we talked about this. The food comes out, you got to fucking wolf down your food, and then
Right.
everyone cleans up and you're done. Well, basically Vince, our buddy Vince, who we've talked
Hmm.
about, was there, and he was a house father at the time, and
Right.
he's kind of guiding me around and showing me where to go. And it had to have been, I'm guessing, lunch. I don't fucking know. I don't think we had breakfast back then, but whatever the case was, I ate whatever I had, and then I was still hungry, so I
Mm.
I walked up to the buffet table, because that's what it
Uh-huh.
looked like to me,
Right.
and just fucking and I'm just standing behind there dishing up some more food, and Vince gets, because everyone's, I didn't pay attention until after the fact that people were
Hmm.
looking at me. Then Vince comes up, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Just getting some more food." And he's like, "Dude, you can't do that. Come here, get it before Marty sees you."
Right.
And actually, you know what? But come to think, I don't even know if Marty was there, but he might not have been there that day. But either way,
Hmm.
I didn't fucking know any better. I wasn't
Right.
in. I wasn't trying to be, to fight the order or go out of it.
Hmm.
I was fucking hungry, man. I hadn't eaten, well in probably a year.
Sure.
So I'm like, hey, this is kind of some good shit. I think I'm going to eat some more. No, you're
Uh-huh.
not. Yeah, no,
The
you're not.
buffet table.
That's what it looked. That's exactly in my head what it made me think of. I'm like, oh, it's an all you can eat buffet. I'm just gonna walk back up there.
No, it is. That's all you can eat.
Right. That's a great way to put it. Here's your plate. This is all you are allowed to eat, and you need to do it
Hmm.
fucking quickly. Very
That's right.
quickly. Yeah, and then whatever, I don't know. Every time Marty served up something, it's like that I remember early too, just feeling like I only want one of it. He put two of whatever it is.
Hmm.
Just one scoop. He put two. So he's like, we gotta put some fucking weight on you. And I
Right.
mean, when I went in there, I think I was 160 pounds or something like that.
Hmm.
So you got to figure 25 pounds less than I am now, and I'm thinnish. I got a little bit of a belly on me these days, but
Right.
nothing major. But still, I mean, take 25 pounds off of this. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just I
Right.
wasn't very healthy.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was. I don't know. That just reminded me of that. But okay, so to start out with, we need order. Obviously, we know that. But to begin with, we had no plan and no order. I think that's pretty accurate.
Hmm.
At least for me, when I before I got sober, I mean, my plan was like, well, whatever happens, happens type of thing. And there was some mild order to my life, but there certainly wasn't much, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, my favorite thing in it is we can depend on ourselves when
Right,
we have this order in our lives, which is kind of nice because God knows I couldn't depend on myself before um,
right.
to do anything except get loaded. And hell, half the time I couldn't even depend on myself to that. I had to, yeah, yeah, lie, rob, and cheat other people to get myself loaded. Yay.
Right. Yeah, he's such a fuck up. He can't even get himself fucked up.
Right.
But yeah, that was actually one of the things I wrote down because I like that. Depending on ourselves, and I mean, in general, the cool part about I think that is in what we talked about previously is that I mean, we can depend on ourselves, but we know that we don't have to. Just depend
Hmm.
on ourselves, which is comforting.
Oh,
It's a
absolutely.
it's a true comfort. It's a I don't know, a well needed, and I'm glad I have that. That crutch in my back pocket that
Hmm.
and it's not even a crutch. It's just it's additional help whenever I need it. It's not if, it's going to be when.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm going to show up. I know I'm going to take care of myself. I know I'm not going to at least try to hurt myself today.
Hmm.
And yeah, depending on ourselves to be healthy and to be good to others and all those sort of things.
Right.
And then something as simple as like it was right in there. Making our bed and being on time.
Hmm.
What a concept, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Make my, I mean, I used to talk about it in group all the time, then when I was on the road, man, and I had that bunk in the back. I mean, that fucker was made up every day because, nobody saw it. Nobody knew, but I knew. I woke up and I made that bunk up. So it was done. And whatever, yeah, nobody's going to see it. And 12, 13, 14 hours later, I was going to crawl back into it and mess it up again. But so what? I started my day by accomplishing something, having order. Yes.
Yeah, and that's this last place that I stayed in Oshkosh. And there's certain places where you have they'll have an Airbnb, they'll have house rules, and it's
Hmm.
like certain things that you can and cannot do, or certain things they want you to do, especially when you're checking out, as far as
Right.
if there's a dishwasher, what to do with the towels,
Yep.
beds, that sort of thing. So same thing. This place, like any beds that you use, because there was two bedrooms. I
Hmm.
didn't even really go in the other one, but. Just like whatever bed you use, just leave it unmade so we know which one to do it. Same deal. I get
Hmm.
up in the morning, I made my bed, and
Yep.
unmade it, but again, the hotel fold, I folded it down. I
Hmm.
put all the pillows back on the bed, and there was like this comforter that was draped over it when I first got there, which I just folded up and set next to the bed. But I
Right.
put that back on there,
Yeah.
and you can clearly tell that that's the bed that I slept in. But I'm like, I
Hmm.
have to, and I was laughing to myself because I mentioned that on here, whatever it was, but I can't. I can't not make the bed, even though
Right.
I'm told leave it unmade so we can wash the sheets and whatever.
Hmm.
I'm like, I can't not make it.
Right.
It's just there was one I can't remember the place I stayed in that said to strip the sheets off the bed. I
Yeah.
did the same thing.
That's
You
what
know,
when we were in Myrtle Beach, that was the same thing. Strip the bed down, all the sheets and stuff. And we did that. And then I took the bedspread and put it back on the bed. So
and I think I just did wherever I was when I did that. I think I just did the same thing. The bedspread and then put it up and then fold it over a couple of times so it's just like towards the bottom type of thing. But
right.
but yeah, it is. It's like you said, and to begin with, I don't remember people telling us that we were accomplishing something. I do remember at some
Hmm.
point you've talked about it quite a few times on here, but
Right.
and it is. I mean, it's right away, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Your feet hit the floor, you get your ass out of bed, and you've accomplished something just by straightening up your area.
Hmm.
And same thing in the Keating Center. And you
Oh,
used to
yeah.
always say that at least you don't have to look at the other. Some guy doesn't have to look at your fucking mess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it, man. Keep your shit together so somebody else doesn't have to look at your mess. Yes.
Right. And that goes along the lines of, they were teaching us how to do things for other people while we were doing something for ourselves.
Yep. Yep.
Just, again, it's all fucking Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi shit that they
It
taught us
is.
there. It really is. What does this mean? Wax the car.
Wax the car. Wax on,
Wash
wax off.
wash the windows. Why am I doing this? Scrub the patio, whatever
Uh-huh.
the fucking deal was.
Right.
It just yeah, it all comes into play. But yeah, I really like keep it simple. I mean, I love God Grant Me, but keep it simple is definitely a close second for me. And
Right.
I look forward to those. Man, the 24-hour book. I don't know if you've noticed over the last few days, but holy Christ, has there been a lot of God in those readings? I'm just like Jesus God, like
Yeah.
God, holy God.
Right. Holy unfucked mother of God.
Right. Which again is fine. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. It's not like I'm going to stop reading it,
All
but
right.
it's I don't know. Is it fucked up that I notice it? I every time.
Yeah, I mean it ebbs and flows, but yeah, we've talked about it before. Yes, the 24-hour book is very religious and it's very, it's written by a Catholic guy, which is fine, nothing wrong with that, I suppose. Uh,
I always love your little side note. Nothing wrong with it, I suppose.
uh-huh. Right. But yes, but yeah, it leads towards that and that's fine. The sediments in there, you maybe have to dig a little bit harder, but that's, fine. Okay, so I have to work a little harder to find a decent message that applies to me in this book. Cool.
Yeah, and it's again I start off with it every morning. That's the
Mm-hmm.
one that I would never think of setting aside or putting away. Definitely
Right.
the Well, now the three. I mean, my three staples. 24-hour book, God Grant Me, and then keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way in the world I would think about setting those three aside. The other one day at a time. It's a good book, and nothing
Right.
wrong with it. And I take a lot of those. There's a lot of those excerpts that I. That's a fucking weird word. Always to be excerpts.
Excerpts.
um, pieces of those readings and post those. But yeah, it's the same setup. I don't know what else I'd want to read, but yeah, I've had those for a while now, and I don't know. My whole point is I'm glad that you mix it up every once in a while because Keep It Simple's it's a good book. It has some great
Mm-hmm.
readings in it. So cool. So what else? Anything else on that particular reading?
No, no, not at all. I think we covered it.
Okay, cool. All right. So Gary sent us an email. About relationships. You remember I brought that up about like relationships and getting through or being in a relationship like before you
Mm.
drank and then staying in a relationship. I don't remember. That was a question I was going to ask him, and he heard that,
Uh-huh.
and then wrote an email about it. I can go into that in a
Okay.
second. I got an update on Riverside,
Mm.
and then some other stuff. So what do you want first, Riverside update or Gary's email?
Let's do Gary's email.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me pop in there.
Yeah, all right.
But
Bill is looking up the email.
so here's the fun part, and I think at this point, I hope everyone knows, who Gary is.
Hmm.
We talk about the
Our number
motherfucker
one
enough.
fan.
Yeah, Gary. I don't mean motherfucker in a bad way, but
Of course not. He.
we we talk about the motherfucker all the time. I hope you guys know
Yes.
who he is.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he's been just a huge part of. He's become a huge part of our podcast since
Hmm.
he came on back the first time in September, and then what was that? 3 weeks ago, a month ago, when we had him on. I was
Yeah,
still
about a month. Yeah.
when we had him on. So, um, how this came up is that I had a couple of things written down, questions that I wanted to ask while Gary was on, and we got
Hmm.
into different tangents and whatever,
Hmm.
and didn't
That'll
get to
happen.
him all the time. I mean, hey, by the way, the guys from Sober Not Mature got off on a tangent. Really? That's odd. Let me write that
Mm,
down. But one of the ones was, so Mike and I have been very clear that nobody would would have wanted us.
mm,
Um, at the end of our drinking, which is why we weren't in relationships. But
right.
the biggest question is just, how people get through that. Can people withstand once? We know a lot of people who have. We know
Hmm.
some who haven't, and it
Right.
could go either way.
Yeah.
But so Gary sent this, and his husband, and I'm going to read kind of bits and pieces to get the points of this, but kind of a
Okay.
long email. But
Mm,
that's Gary.
right.
And again, I mean that in a great way. Um,
Yes.
he says, my husband and I just celebrated 28 years together. I knew that, but I was 27, which makes sense because he said just June 1st.
Hmm.
You were asking in the podcast about being in a relationship with one person getting sober. He said, I know people grow apart when one person does that. Thankfully, that has not been the case with him and his husband.
Hmm.
Now, he said he thinks for several reasons, and I thought these are really good. He said when they met, which was they were 26, so officially been together more than half their lives, which is kind of cool.
Hmm.
He said his husband is very level-headed and comfortable with who he is
Mm,
and provided stability. Okay,
hmm.
so let's just stop there. So you've got somebody who, number one, is not as fucking crazy as you are.
Right.
Maybe Gary wasn't that crazy, but I know I was fucking nuts in the head.
Oh yeah.
You know, so having that point of stability, that's number one, which provided him stability. Um, I offered him to let go, party hard, have people or have met people around, or I'm sorry, and view the world differently. And it worked since day one. We both always looked at our relationship as a part time job, not in a negative way,
Hmm.
and they work at it.
Right.
Um, before he got sober, he would scream and yell when he was upset with him. This is Gary would do
Hmm.
that, and
Right.
he would calmly wait. His husband will calmly wait for that to pass, then come
Mm,
and talk and ask what was bothering him.
right.
Which, again, I mean, I've been in some fiery relationships, and I talked about Dawn and I. And if she ever listens to this, I don't say this in a bad way.
Hmm.
Um, we had a very, and I think you put it perfectly. You said passion goes both ways.
Right.
And our relationship was like it was really really fucking good, or when it went bad it got really really fucking bad.
Right.
And two stubborn people, very passionate people, and we get in these verbal arguments.
Hmm.
um, but Gary said that in that way, we've learned to talk through anything that comes up in our relationship, and we decide together how to move forward. Gary says he always called him his rock, and for good reason.
Hmm.
Um, Gary said when he started his sober journey, he was afraid about how much time he would spend in meetings. That comes up a
Right.
lot when you and I talk to people, doing
Hmm.
fellowship and other things in his life that contribute to his sobriety. He asked his husband what he thought about what he was doing for his recovery, and this I thought was great. His husband said, "You are proving to me that you do not want to kill yourself anymore. The fact that
Nice.
you want to be healthy just makes me love you even more, and I
Hmm.
support whatever you need to do that." I
Nice.
read that and I'm like, "Fuck me, that's fucking awesome." I mean,
Yes, it is.
what the fuck more could we want or anything like that from anyone, you know?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. And then he kind of wraps up here with, "I do know that drunk Gary always said, um, or I'm sorry, hang on one second. Oh, he's never tried to save me or be an enabler before I got sober. And
Hmm.
that's why I think it still works that I am sober. I know that drunk Gary always said yes as long as I could keep drinking and
Uh
using.
huh.
But sober Gary says no. That took Nick a while to understand and
Hmm.
accept in a good way. We continue to check in with each other. And I think he is learning that his sober friends can be his best friends as well. Okay.
Nice.
but he says he kind of wrapped it up with this, just like my program, it only works if you work it. Sometimes that means having to be honest with ourselves and our loved ones in order to work through life together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but that was it. He said, "Oh, last thing here. This has nothing to do with the relationship." He said, "Your new platform sounds great. That's the sound quality for both of you, at least on Apple Podcasts, is much better than you were on Riverside," which I thought was kind of interesting. But
Mm-hmm.
good to hear. Mike is really clear and easier to hear now. I hope
Mm.
you continue to use it and they don't fuck it up.
Gary, we feel the exact same way.
And then he just ended with "keep fucking off and I will keep listening." So,
Nice.
so thank you, Gary. And the thing of it is, and I guess the bits and pieces of that were pretty simple. Is that um, I think it really what it comes down to is that not that it didn't matter that we're talking about a sober person or a person trying to get sober and one who
Mm-hmm.
is a normie. I think that the two of them clearly had a relationship that was solid to begin with, which
Right.
means then, of course, hopefully it can survive the changes. And but the other thing, and I think you were the one that said this a couple of times that you've seen and how you feel about it is that sometimes the non-sober person
Mm-hmm.
either change, adapt, still wants to fix, right? That's kind
Mm-hmm.
of the lines you thought about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I mean, because it changes the dynamic of the relationship. It's just the nature of it, and right. I mean, sometimes the quote unquote normal person in the relationship, they've got a role. They've had this role in the relationship of taking care of you and some people like that. Some people like being the enabler. Some people like having that power over you, even though, the drunk and the drug addict is, they think they're controlling things, and to an extent they are from their behaviors. Um, but yeah, the other person is really in control because clearly the alcoholic or drug addict out of control, even though they're affecting it and they're controlling it in a way through their behaviors. But yeah, and sometimes the other person doesn't like the fact that they can't control you and take care of you and have that power over you. You start being responsible and taking care of yourself and helping others and all of that, and they don't like that. That's not what they signed up for. And sometimes you got to let those things go. That's I mean, that's where I think Al-Anon is really important to the other person in that relationship, to go and have the support group that we have, have those people around you that understand what you're going through and have gone through it themselves and found a solution to their problem. Because clearly, if you're in a deep relationship with an
I
alcoholic or a drug addict,
don't know
you
if you
got
can
some
hear me,
fucking
but it's
problems
showing
too.
or saying I
Um,
lost a connection.
so yeah. Oh shit. Well, you know what? I've lost Bill. He is offline as I look at my computer. Um, I don't know. Let's see here, kids. I'm going to send him a text. La la la. It says that you're offline. Clearly, I don't text quickly. Well, I don't know. We're probably going to cut this off. We're going to say at the 31-minute mark, 32-minute mark. Yeah.
Break, and then tell me when you're done with that.
I'm sure he'll edit this. Now I'm going to call him. Let's see what that sounds like, kids. Hell, let's put it on speaker. Hey
Hey there.
Hi there. It says you're
Yes,
offline.
I know. Oh no.
Oh, wait a minute. You're coming back. You know what? And I've been kind of padding, and I've got you on speaker.
Okay, let's hang up the phone.
All right.
So yeah, that was fucking weird. So that had this just as into figures, as soon as we get done, what the fuck, man? We just got done reading Gary's line that hope it doesn't fuck up. That was not Zencaster. I somehow lost a connection to the server. I
Mm,
was connected to the internet, so I don't know what the deal is, but that was fucking weird.
that
So
was. I know. I was
anyhow,
talking, and I kind of, and then I made a point and looked over and went, "Oh shit, he's gone."
so
But you
you
know
know,
what? I padded pretty well, so I think we'll probably leave it in.
oh fuck it, I'm not gonna fix it. I mean, I'll just say, again, this is our rule. Unless you stood there and we're just like complete fucking silence,
Mm.
that's I would cut that part off. But that's why I'm texting Mike and I'm like, I lost my connection with a question mark, and he's like, yeah, you're offline. And then I'm trying to type. I'm texting to Mike. I'm like, okay, just run us into a break. Tell me when you're done, and I'm gonna pause it. And then he's calling me, and then we came back on. We're on the fucking phone. That's awesome. I
That
like that.
was.
That was funny.
That
And
was.
so, and I think there's been and again, I know for a fact that had nothing to do with Zencaster because I've had this week I had one glitch with work, but the first week I was back here, my internet went out for 35 minutes one day. The internet went out for
Mm.
10 minutes one day. It's an Xfinity thing. I think what they're doing is they're fixing towers and doing some shit and working in the area. So I think that's what the problem is
All
because
right.
but it to begin with, I thought I was connected, but when I was trying to text you and voice text, it wouldn't take. So I think the internet went down for a couple of minutes. But anyhow,
All right.
fuck.
Well, it was fine here in Cleveland.
Right. I just think it was funny that I can't wait to hear it. But yeah, literally, I'm just sitting there trying to text Mike. I'm like, just fucking run us into a break because I wanted a clean break, and then we could have started over if we needed to,
Nope.
But anyhow, so but I think we ended up with well, you probably made your point. I think the whole
I
thing.
think I did. Right.
So let's do this. I'll pretend like, God damn, Mike, that was a poignant thing you just said.
Of
I can't
course it
believe how
was.
I can't believe how wonderful that was. Because a real podcast would cut out all that fucking garbage and then just
Uh-huh.
act like we came back in and it didn't happen. We don't
Mhm.
do that here.
That's right, man. We're raw and we're real.
Yeah, we're fucking rebels, man. Yeah, but anyhow, so last thing I want to say on that is just thank you, Gary. We truly appreciate obviously you continuing to I don't know, just contribute. It's
Yes.
great. I even told him when I got the email because this is a couple weeks ago now. I said, we got a guest on this week. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to bring it up, but I said as soon as I will, or as soon as I can, I'll obviously bring it up. So, but thank you, Gary. We appreciate
Yes.
it. All right. So, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
35 minutes.
right. Yeah, we'll take our little break now. Well,
Let's
actually,
do
I'll follow some directions that I got from a text message from my friend Bill.
it.
And we
Right.
will be right back with more of this nonsense right after these words from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.sobernotmature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.sobernotmatureshop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
At least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And
They
once
are.
again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
.com.
.com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone, you've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone, welcome back. And look at that. We came back in and out of a break. and once again, didn't have to split the episode. I know we did it last week just because we had John on there,
Right.
but it's just we haven't. I don't know. It just all this fucking months that we had problems with Riverside. I'm still like a little child. The fact that we don't have to, restart the studio. So,
Right.
speaking of Riverside,
Yeah. Speaking of them, what the fuck did they do?
Well, so I really would have rather come on here and been able to just badmouth the piss out of it because it's more fun. It's just
right.
It's just more fun, And I really can't do that. I got to give him some kudos. I have to give him a little bit of kind words.
Credit
even
where
with
credit is due.
Correct. Up to this point, before I start with my kind words, I am not backtracking on anything I said about them.
Right.
I'm not taking anything back. I'm not apologizing for my past words. No, because all of that shit happened and I felt that way and I stand behind it.
Mm-hmm.
However,
yes,
the other day I sent him a note and I'm like, okay, so here's the deal. Blah, 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 all the problems we had. And I just put in the email, I said, I am not going to recap everything of what happened. I said, our podcast, look up my name, look up my email. What do you have to do? Whatever you have to do. You can research the problems, but I'm not doing it again. But here's the deal. Here's what we're using now. We've done it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it's been. No issues.
Right.
So we're done and we'd like a refund. So thank you very much. So the same day, within like an hour, I get somebody back or emailed me back and I'm like, that's kind of surprising. So first thing he says, he's like, oh, would you like to expand more on what's happened? And then we can look at this and this. I email back. I'm like, no, I'm not expanding on anything. Look
We've
back.
done this already. Yeah.
Exactly.
We switched. We over and over told you what the fucking problems were and you didn't resolve them. So we went elsewhere.
Right. Our relationship with you got fucked up. So we went someplace else.
Yep.
But I said, no, but we're obviously looking for the refund. So he gets back to me and he's like, okay, here's the deal. And here's how it happens. He goes, I'm copying billing on here because I'll have to work on, the refund. But he said, we appreciate it. We're sorry. We apologize for all the things that you had. We'll take a look at it. The only reason I was asking, try to help other people, blah, blah, blah. And I emailed back and I said, thank you. I appreciate that. I said, but just a couple of side notes here for you. And I said, we dealt with it for months. I said it killed part of a portion of our listenership. I know for a fact that happened because I watched the numbers go down. We're a small podcast. We can't afford that. And I said, on top of that, I said, every single time we came to you with a problem, I said, you blamed us or our equipment.
Right.
Not openly, but I said, basically, it's what? Your equipment or do this change and do that. I said, there was no personal responsibility from Riverside. And I said, that's bothersome. And I said, this is just my opinion, but I'm going to say it anyhow. I said, I think you're going to alienate small podcasts. I think whatever you're doing, push away your bread and butter. I said, I've been around the business world for a long time. I said, small people like us are your bread and butter. We're that base,
Right.
And then you'll get the big people, but we're that base. And I said, I'm sure if we spent thousands of dollars on new equipment and all this different stuff, which we're not going to do, maybe all of your stuff would work perfectly, but it is what it is. So then, the guy thanked me again. Billing got back to me the next day. Said, here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to prorate based on this, and you get $88 back. And I'm like, okay, because when we were renewed back in, I couldn't remember when we renewed, but it was November. It
Right.
was $220 or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
they prorated it, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. Right.
And then so what they did is they were basically because you could be a member of Riverside and be on a free plan, which is what we were reduced down to.
Mm-hmm.
Still have access to all of our episodes, just not the individual recordings. Not that
Mm-hmm.
I would ever need; those are just all raw things. I've downloaded them. Once I download them and put them up, if we ever lost shit with Anchor, that would be the problem because that's where
Right.
all of our like core recordings are.
Mm-hmm.
One way or the other. It's yeah, I was just like, okay, so I mean, basically we got almost half our money back, for a little bit over half the year, and
Right.
they apologized, and I mean,
Mm.
I got to give them credit for doing that.
Right.
Honestly, this it doesn't. And I looked it up before I had emailed them. I think it's within the first 60 days or 90 days. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have to refund anything. You
Right.
know, so I was not only surprised, I was pleasantly surprised and a little mind blown that they refunded anything, but especially that dollar amount. I thought it'd be like some token. Yeah, here's $20.
Yeah. Here's
Go
20
get you,
bucks.
go get
Right.
your
Go get your
shine
shine
box.
box.
Go get your shine box. Don't you know I don't do that anymore?
Right.
I don't shine shoes anymore.
Right.
But yeah, so I haven't gotten the money back yet. They said it comes back on I don't know whatever fucking card I used. I don't remember which one I
Right.
used, but
Yeah. Cool. Good. Well,
yeah.
hey, that's nice. Somebody actually did the right thing out there. It happens occasionally.
I know it was. I was again pleasantly surprised, and like I said, part of me would have been more fun to get on here and just
Mm-hmm.
fucking bitch and moan. But I don't know. This worked out. This worked out fine. So it's all good.
Good. Good. All right. Well, thanks, Riverside. Yeah. Don't let the door hit you in the ass.
And you know what? I hope it's not on. Well, maybe it is on my end. You sound a little bit like bubbly, like underwater bubbly. But again, I'm sure it won't show up on the recording. But
Hmm.
I don't sound weird or out of the ordinary, do I?
No, everything sounds fine on my end.
Okay, yeah, you're back to normal. You're just bubbly, maybe when you got happy. That's all.
It's my bubbly personality.
Right. And I really think that I think it's the internet on this end. I think there's something going on here.
Well,
So
yeah, clearly you went offline for 3-4 minutes. Right.
right, right, yeah. So that's the first time that's ever happened here. To actually have the internet go completely out. So, but anyhow, so yeah, Riverside again. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. But we do appreciate the fact that they
Mm-hmm.
did that. I mean, it's again surprised me, but all the past problems, everything that I said though, I truly think that if you're a small podcaster out there, and
Mm.
if anyone came to me and said they were going to use them, I would say these are the problems we had, and this is the equipment we use. If you're
Right.
spending a lot of money, hey, more power to you. But
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I don't know. I mean, everything, because we're doing the same setup that we had with
Yeah.
Riverside. Back to your Chromebook, same
Right.
microphone, got
Yep.
my computer back, all this different shit. It's all the same, and it's perfect. You
Yeah.
know.
Right. Yep. Yep. Like
But
like you said, man, they're adding too much crap to it, and it's just yeah, it's we don't need it. We never did. We want to record audio and put it out there. It's what we do. It's what a fucking podcast is supposed to be.
right,
Yeah. So it's a radio show with just on the internet. That's what a podcast is.
right. And I we did the one video one, which I know you didn't like. I think in a
I
different
fucking hated that.
but in under certain circumstances there would have been a time and a place where I think that would be fun to do every once in a while. I think that either
Mm-hmm.
one of us could have handled that, and maybe we'll test it out on here one time just to see how it is.
Right.
It would have to be a special thing for us to want to do it, but I could see having the need to do it, but yeah, we don't need all that fucking shit all the time.
Right.
It's fucking pointless. So. All right, enough tech talk, and we're on Zencaster now. Oh, once again, this episode is brought to you by Zencaster.
Zencaster. No bullshit. Just get it out there.
Yeah, and once again, so cool they don't need the E.
That's right.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question, and
All
then
right.
I'll add a little bit more context to it after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that everyone has a rock bottom?
um, I'm-
Those are, let me just pause for a minute. Those are the best fucking reactions. I wait for those every once in a while from you. It doesn't happen a lot, but every once in a while you're just like, ugh.
Right. Well, okay. All right. Everyone has a rock bottom. It's called fucking death. I mean, the big book talks about, high bottom drunks and stuff. I mean, everyone doesn't have to be homeless. Everyone doesn't have to, lose their entire family. To Gary, everyone doesn't have to lose their relationships. Everyone, your bottom is your bottom. Your bottom is when you stop digging, and you start working on climbing out of whatever hole you have put yourself in. Um, yeah, everyone has a rock bottom. It's death. You never get sober and you fucking die loaded, and miserable. And yes, but you don't have to. If you're out there and you're getting low, stop digging, man. And start working on getting out of that hole. And that's your bottom. I mean, clearly, both of us, we could have gone lower. Um, I
Right.
was living in a house with my daughter, not paying any bills, and locked in a bedroom. But I could have been out on the street. I have been out on the street. You were living in a house, doing whatever the hell you were doing there, right? But we stopped digging when we
Right.
got so. Yeah. Uh, Everyone has that rock bottom, but you don't have to continue to get closer to it. You can stop at any time and start
Right.
working your way out of the hole.
Yeah, and it's and it was just it was one of those questions that I can't. I of course I don't know what podcast it was, but I was listening to some
Mm-hmm.
podcast, in the guest had said that, but the way that she put it, and I'll give you my opinion in a minute, but so she said that not everyone has a, or she said not everyone has to have a rock bottom. They just
Right.
have rocky moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so, and that made me think about that though. But there, I look at a rock bottom as an end to your drinking, and I'm looking at it from. I agree with you. Everyone's got an end as far as a rock bottom. Yeah, you're dead. You could
Yeah.
drink to that point, and that would be the ultimate, rock bottom
Yeah.
in this whole thing we do. But wherever, like you said, that's the perfect analogy because I thought about that everyone doesn't have to have a, like you said, low bottom, high bottom, that sort of thing. Not
Mm-hmm.
everyone has to be an extremely low bottom drunk, but at
Right.
some point we all stop digging, so we all hit a
Bottom.
floor or a ceiling, or not a ceiling. We all hit a floor, yeah, not a bottom.
Yes. Yeah.
That becomes our rock bottom, even if you didn't, like you said, didn't lose your house, didn't lose your relationship,
Right.
weren't homeless, weren't, at point four something.
Right.
and and when you went into detox, didn't have to go to the
Mm-hmm.
heating center, all those sort of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I
So
mean, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You can,
right,
have your job and have your family and all that and just go, fuck, I can't do this anymore. I need some help, and go get that help and start doing the work. And yeah, that was your bottom.
right. And her story was, and I know what podcast I was listening to was and I don't mind mentioning him because he's a good dude. I've talked about it before, but the Sober Motivation podcast. The guy's name is Brad. He lives in Canada. He's been doing this his podcast at least as long as us. He's a lot bigger than us, as I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
hell of a lot more downloads and plays and whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
he's got some good guests on there. Very formatted, which we're not. All those sort of things, but. Um, Her story was she had some early blackout moments, and then she had her ups and downs, she had her things, but she didn't have that like extreme story, which is I
Mm-hmm.
think where her mindset was coming from. So I think I'm not trying to put words into her mouth, but I think she was more
Mm-hmm.
along the lines of people don't have to completely fucking bottom out and do all
Right.
the things we just talked about. They just have to hit some. Okay, you're bouncing around like you said. I'm fucking up here. I'm fucking up there. I need some help, and I still got my shit together when I come out of this, but I'm still an alcoholic. I'm in recovery. I'm sober. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case is. So it was just an interesting thought because I'm like, well, God, really? Is it that you don't have to have a rock bottom, or just don't have to have a severe one? So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I was. That's where I was kind of going with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and again, it's, hey, guess what? It's in the big book. They talk about, high bottoms and low bottoms and all that good stuff. Yes.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I don't. I mean, shit. I think that I wasn't in really great shape. Neither were you
Mm,
when either one of us got sober. But
right.
we know a lot of people that were you know better off than us. We know people that were
Mm-hmm.
worse. Better
Sure.
than, worse than, less than, greater
Mm-hmm.
than, whatever the case is. And it really doesn't fucking matter. I mean,
Nope.
it just within a matter of weeks, I would have been homeless. Within a
Yeah.
matter of weeks, I might have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, homeless and lifeless.
Right.
It's just a fucked up thing to laugh about, but what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to laugh at some of that shit. At least I know I do. But I don't know. It was just it was an interesting thought, if nothing else. So I thought it
Mm-hmm.
would be. Just wanted to get your opinion. But yeah, you make me laugh every once in a while when I ask those questions. You're just like, ugh. Ugh."
God damn it! I got to think about something.
I know. I just thought it's kind of funny. So this is just kind of a side note, but we had talked about and I know I keep bringing it up, but like step 6 and 7 at some point talking about it. But
Mm-hmm.
was there in the meeting that the 12, 12, and 4, was
Mm-hmm.
there a was there actually a book on the absolutes?
There's a pamphlet.
It's a pamphlet. So we just read out of a pamphlet for that. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The Four Absolutes pamphlet comes from Cleveland Central Office.
Right.
I've sent a couple around the country. People don't. They're like, the absolutes. What are those? And if
Right.
you don't know, the absolutes came from the Oxford Group, which was kind of a temperance society, Christian temperance society, prior to Alcoholics Anonymous. Dr. Bob was a member of the Oxford Group, a drunken member of the Oxford Group. Uh, and he and Bill used some of their stuff when creating the big book and forming Alcoholics Anonymous. And in Cleveland, there is a official pamphlet called the Four Absolutes. And you can write to central office here in Cleveland, Ohio, and they'll probably sell you one.
I couldn't remember if I knew of the pamphlet, but I couldn't remember if there was an actual book, kind of like the 12 and 12 that
No,
more detail. But so it
yeah,
is.
no, we used the pamphlet, the Four Absolutes, and we read when we'd get to that part of the cycle. We'd do the 12 steps and the 12 traditions, and then the Four Absolutes, the 12 steps. But yeah, when it's absolute time, we pulled out the little pamphlet and read out of that.
Right. Okay. Interesting. It was just that because I thought I'm like, God, if there's a book, maybe we can talk about that more. I just think, to your point, and we brought it up, a number of different times, but that really, I mean, nobody outside of people that I've talked to, and I know people that you've talked to,
Mm-hmm.
outside of the Cleveland area, have no fucking idea, what the
Right.
absolutes are. So, I don't know. Just that was a sideline question for you, but I think that if nothing else, it we could bring up the absolutes more and actually have conversations about them because I think it would be well needed information. And the whole
Yeah.
point is, you've got obviously 12 steps and 12 traditions, all those sort of things that people a lot of times get overwhelmed with it. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things we've talked about on here is that that's the four absolutes. And again, there's only four, not 12.
Right.
A little bit easier on the mind. And they're very, very simple. It's honesty, unselfishness, love, and purity. That's it,
Yep.
And these are things that we were told right off the bat that, hey, if nothing else, work on these things. If you're going
Yeah.
to make a major decision, run them through that. Is it honest? Is it unselfish? Is it pure? Is it loving? If you stop on any one of those, you probably shouldn't do or say what you're supposed to or what you think you want to do or say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but on top of that, too, that I think to begin with, and I'm just going to say anyone that's trying to get sober, even if you don't want to, go into the steps or anything like that, either
Mm-hmm.
ever or right away, those four absolutes will keep you at least steady a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to cure you. None of us are
No.
fucking cured, but I think they pointed us in the right direction. I think, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just I don't know. Again, that was kind of a sideline thing. So I like them. I like the absolutes.
Me
They make
too.
they make me happy. So, all right. So here's a non sober thing, and this just came up on the radio show that I listened to.
Mm-hmm.
So they were talking about um, the happiest cities in America. Okay.
Mm. All right.
So,
So
so
places to avoid.
right. So let me ask you this, Mike. Do you think
Yes.
you are happy in your city?
um, I'm happy in my own mind. So it doesn't matter what city I'm in.
Right. No, I know. Hang on one second. Because according to, and
Uh,
there's 182 on this list. Okay.
mm-hmm.
According to this list, you're not very happy. Okay.
Right. No, I could have told you that. Take a look
Number
around, take around me every day. Yeah. What number is Cleveland, Ohio?
number 181 out of 182 is Cleveland. And
All right.
then your hometown is 182,
Ah, nice. Yeah. Let's
Detroit.
see. Right. Exactly. Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Let's just
That's why
see
I
here.
feel at home here.
I think because I mean, obviously it's a long fucking list. I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
scroll through. I'm scrolling through the entire thing, and I'm like, I'm into the 80s or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck is Cleveland? Like
Right.
Chicago is 83. Literally, I went back twice thinking I missed it. But no, yeah, it was 181. I can't. I'm trying to figure out. I think maybe Milwaukee was in the 40s, but the number. Can you guess the number one city? This kind of blew my mind, and I'll tell you why.
Happiest city.
Yeah,
I mean, I would think it would be like Honolulu or something.
right. I would think so too, but
Hmm?
Fremont, California.
Ugh. No. No. All right. This. Yeah. No.
Honolulu is number 6. Um,
Okay.
Madison, Wisconsin. This one makes sense. Madison, Wisconsin is number 4.
Yeah, because they're all
Um,
loaded.
well, there's two different reasons for that. Yeah, it's a college town, and
Right.
there's obviously college kids. Yeah, they're too drunk not to be happy. But Madison is. And have you been to Madison? Ever actually
Uh,
been like on the ground in Madison or no?
a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, it's a really not that politics matters, but it does to a certain extent when it comes to very liberal town. In some
Hmm.
ways they can get a little. I mean, but they're like really fucking liberal. Where
Oh
some of
yeah,
these,
hippy dippy. Right.
oh yeah,
Communist. Right.
where towns are like really fucking conservative. So Madison's one of those, but it really is. It's a fucking nice city. It
Yeah.
really is. It's beautiful now. Cost of living, you
Hmm.
could go from kind of the. I don't know, like the Cleveland area. You got the all the hills or the big mansions and shit in Lakewood, down to
Right.
wherever, pick the worst part of Cleveland type of thing.
East
And
Cleveland.
yeah, in Madison's got the same thing, but I don't know, it just that didn't really surprise me that much. But yeah, you're just when you said yeah, they're just drunk, but it's a nice city.
Uh huh.
But it's just kind of I where is Fremont, California?
It's outside of San Francisco.
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess that makes sense. San Francisco
Mm,
is number 6 or something like that on there,
really?
but
No,
uh
I guess if you're into shit on the street, human
no,
feces.
Honolulu is 6, San Francisco is 7. So yeah, but
Okay.
still same thing.
I mean, yes, I loved San Francisco. It's a very different place than it was when I was hanging out there. But
Right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's beautiful, and I love the weather, and yeah, I, whatever.
No, it's just literally the only reason I was going to have you that to begin with. I was going to just have you guess the number one city because I didn't even know where Fremont was. But
uh-huh.
then when I started scrolling through and I saw Cleveland being 181, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to fucking talk about this now.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Detroit being 182, that's just kind of that made me laugh even more. But I don't know, like you said, is in my opinion, it's just wherever you go, there you are type of thing. I mean, if
Oh
you're
yeah,
fucking
absolutely. And
if you're
happiness, ignorance is bliss.
right.
I'd like to think that Cleveland and Detroit has a bunch of people in it that are aware of what the hell's going on in the world, and the fucks are to be happy about.
Right. Right. Well, and the other thing too is I didn't, and I'm not going to. I didn't read what the criteria was, is how they figured it out. But
Right.
the same thing, that I mean, I don't want to say we make our own happiness, because it's kind of like happiness is a byproduct of what we do, and I know we talked about that,
Mm-hmm.
but we do. I mean, we end up creating our own happiness by being good individuals and be good
Right.
people. But
Yep.
to your point, also is being aware, of what's going on in the country. I mean, I don't know. I mean, some of the shit that's going on in this fucking world and in this country is just fucked up.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like you and I don't talk about politics on here.
Mm-hmm.
You and I don't talk about world events. I can't fucking remember the last time that I've watched the news.
Mm.
But
Right.
I keep an eye. I'm on the internet. I see articles. I see things
Right.
going on. I'm not completely oblivious, but there's a lot of times when somebody's like, "Did you hear about that? This nasty shit that's happened over here." I'm like, "Nope."
Mm.
I'm like, and sometimes it's like, God damn, that happened. I'll look into it, if it
Uh-huh.
in one way or the other, I hear about it. But I don't know, some of this shit, I'm like, I think you said it best before. Either it doesn't affect me, or what the fuck am I going to do about it?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Serenity prayer shit, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. But speaking of politics, though, just briefly, we're going to hear a ton of that over the next few months with an election
Right.
coming near. So, who is the? I tried to look it up the other day, and I maybe I got it right. Who's the libertarian dude this year?
I if I saw the name, I'd recognize it.
Is it
I
Chase? Chase
Yeah,
something?
Chase something. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm not a big fan,
Right.
unfortunately, this time around. He's got a lot of, I don't know where the hell they found this guy, but he's got a lot of very left leaning positions. And yeah, that's whatever. No thanks.
Yeah, I didn't even as you were talking about that, I'm like popped into my head the name Chase, but I don't know. It's the only thing that I've done it for years is I haven't voted for one of the whatever you call mainstream
Right.
parties
Yeah.
in a number of years, and I don't plan on doing it this time around. And I'll do some research over the next handful of months and figure out who lines up with what I believe more. And that's
Uh-huh.
kind of all I do. I don't know. The only thing I'll say is I don't understand, straight party line individuals, especially
Mm,
with the mainstreams, because like you said, it's sometimes people just no research, not knowing what's going on in the world.
right. They just look
Nobody's
for a D or an R. Yep.
right. And my last thing I'll say, all politicians are fucking idiots and they're fucking
Yep.
criminals.
Gosh, thank you.
It's that's all there is to it. It doesn't matter. Pick your favorite criminal. That's all it
Yeah,
is. So
exactly. Right. Yeah. Well, Corolla used to talk about stupid or liar. Right. Are they
right.
stupid or are they a liar? Do they actually know that they're bullshitting you or are they just fucking stupid? That
Right.
pretty much sums it up. Yes.
All right, so that ends political talk, hopefully for many
Right.
episodes. But all right, so from speaking of keep it simple, I don't know when this is from. Always, I'll list 10 gifts of recovery for which I have gratitude. 10 seems like a lot. I mean, but
Mm.
um, and it was
Or
just
it seems like a little.
yeah, I mean exactly, but I mean to right off the top of your head, my point is I'm not going to ask you to list off 10 things,
Mm.
maybe gifts of recovery, but I don't know. Just thinking about that, it was a thinking thing when I wrote it down. There's so many things I have gratitude for,
Oh,
but
yeah.
are there even one, two, or three right off the top of your head that you can think of?
I mean, peace and serenity, man. Clear conscience. Yeah. Not having the conflict and the you know, as a byproduct of doing the right thing. Yeah, uh, that's the best one. Yeah, the peace and the serenity that I at the end of the day when I look back, it was like, yeah, I wasn't too big of an asshole. Cool. I'm gonna go to sleep now.
Right. Yeah, and I think that I mean peace and serenity have to be easily one, easily two of mine, and then just I don't know the relationships, the comfort that I have around people, being able to walk into any room at any time,
Mm-hmm.
and I can keep my head up, as they
Right.
used to say, I don't have to stare at my shoes or anything like that anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
it's such a gift. I mean, there's so many things, but the freedom to do anything and go anywhere within reason.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we
Sure.
know that, but I don't know, just waking up and going to bed with a clear conscience. Oh, so the other day, and this is I'm not gonna name the person or the circumstance or whatever it was, but Jesus Christ, these fucking
Yeah.
dogs.
Uh-huh.
And Kathy just texted me. She's like, "Take a look at this." I don't know where she is, and So my phone's fucking buzzing with her. Got dogs barking,
Mm,
so she must be
take a look
outside.
at this.
Yeah, I'm like, we're doing a podcast. But anyhow, just fucking with Kathy. But anyhow, yes, you texted us at 1 hour and 5 minutes into the podcast. So anyhow,
Mhm.
but so the other day, and it was just it was a text message type of thing back and forth with somebody. It wasn't any big deal, but I was kind of in, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I after the fact realized that I was in a mood,
Uh-huh.
and it was a friendly text. It was a back and forth, but all said and done, I lay down, and that's when I do my prayers and I do my 10 step. I've said it all the time. I always go, okay, my day, and I think back, and rarely it's been a long fucking time since I've had to go back and I'd even had to that felt like I wanted to go back and say I apologize if I came across this way type of thing. And that
Right.
just happened this week,
Mm.
and I just in the morning I sent a text and I'm like, hey, I don't know if I seemed a little snotty or snippy in my text, but if I did, I'm like, it had nothing to do with you. I know now I was in kind of a mood, and I apologize if it came across that way. Person's like, no, I didn't think anything of it, or
Mm.
anything like that. But I read back my text, and it just, I don't know. You know how it is when you text something and you're like, I don't know. I felt weird. But the thing of it is I didn't really think about it after the fact until I did that 10 step.
Mhm.
And it was just, once again, I went back to the person, and it's somebody I'm friends with. It's nothing big, nothing out of the ordinary.
Right.
That it went on, but that 10 step helped me catch something, and that's the first time that's happened in a long time. And I was just like, God damn, this shit is fucking cool.
Yep.
I mean, it was so nice, because I get so used to it. It's this routine that we talk about, and it's this, doing the readings, and I forget shit that I read, and we just go through the motions in a good way because it's become habit.
Mhm.
But I started going back, and that popped into my head, and I'm like, fuck. And while I was doing that, I popped up and I looked at my phone. I'm like, oh man, you know how it is. You just feel like something was snippy, and
Right.
it's been warm out. It gets a little warm in the room in here sometimes if I
Mm.
if I have the door closed. I'm having a great month, for at work, but the last couple of days have been really slow,
Mhm.
or last few days. So I'm like a little bit frustrated with that. So I know what the ingredients were to have me be snippy, but
Right.
I don't want to be that person today.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you caught yourself and you stopped doing it. Nice.
yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it's just it this time it wasn't one of those times when I came back and I'm like, well, fuck, I guess I didn't have to apologize anyhow. And that was a number of years ago when I did that and apologized to somebody like, oh, it's no big deal. In my head, I'm like, fuck, man, I didn't even have to waste my breath, but I didn't think that way because if it mattered to me or if it popped out my head, then yes, we need to say
Mhm.
something, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So all right, so little other one today, and here's another homework assignment. Today, I will write down 3 times I pretended I wasn't good enough so that I could avoid responsibility. Did we talk about that at all, or no?
I mean, I think we've touched on it before.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 times. Jesus Christ, 3 decades. Um,
But have you ever done that? I mean, to avoid responsibility.
oh
I mean,
yeah, a lot. It's called a lifestyle.
right, right,
Yeah. All right. It's a nice way to rationalize, not doing what you need to do. Right. Well, I'm just not good enough. I can't live up to that.
right,
So yeah, fuck that shit. Um, yeah, no, I did it all the time, and thankfully don't have to do it anymore.
right. Yeah, and it's I mean, the thing of it is, and I it just kind of occurred to me that it's all about being afraid of failure too,
Hmm.
and the especially when we were drinking and stuff like that. You got to figure that, okay, the condition we were in, the mindset that we were in. I felt like I was always confident, but I had no self confidence. I had no self worth.
Hmm.
So why do something, and with the potential that I could fail? I want to fucking fail,
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. Right. I can't. If I don't do anything, then I can't fail.
right? and don't get me wrong, I have no desire to fail today either.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, I know that, well, two things. As long as I, do the right thing. If I did the right thing, no shortcuts, no cutting corners, anything like that. I put my best foot forward. I put forth my best effort. And if it didn't work out, it is what it fucking is. And
Right.
either I learned from it, or, even if it wasn't an immediate lesson, I'll learn something from it. Or worst case scenario, I have the opportunity to say, you know what, I at least tried, and I
Mm-hmm.
won't have any regret, because I know for a fact, that if I don't try something now, if I get it in my head, unless it's physically beyond my capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not stupid, that I'm fucking old.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm not gonna. You aren't gonna catch me on a basketball court. You're not gonna catch
No.
me playing softball these days. I'm not running anymore unless I'm being chased.
Mm-hmm.
I have no desire to do any of that, because I'm like, fuck it, man. I don't need to do this shit anymore.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, why not give something an opportunity, a try. And if we put our effort towards it and we fail, then it fucking is what it is. So what, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I fail every day. Right, which means that I'm trying. That's the way I look at it. I succeed every day as well, but I definitely fall short, and I definitely don't live up to what I should. But that's okay. I keep trying, keep plugging away, and maybe someday I'll get something, or I won't. Who gives a fuck? Still
Right.
trying, still
Yeah.
putting in the effort, man. That's all that matters.
Right. I mean, again, it just occurred to me, is that fear of failure thing too. That, I mean, our lives were just, we've talked about it all the time. Our lives were just driven by constant fucking fear. And now,
Mm-hmm.
guess what we have? Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
We have the other, well, two other F words, fucking freedom.
Right.
Yeah. But speaking of that, I was thinking of trying. I don't know why this made me think of trying new things. I was so I obviously, I search around these fucking Airbnb things all the time, and every once in a while, I get they'll send me emails like, check out this place, you might like this place, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I found this area that popped up. God, I don't even know what the name of it. And hang on a second, it's a small town in Iowa that has a couple of these like parks and stuff like that, with some like really nice hiking trails and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like this cheap place. I might actually go there this weekend.
Hmm.
God, we were not recording tomorrow night. It's a 4-hour drive. I could actually go down tomorrow night, stay there Friday and Saturday night for like next to nothing.
Hmm.
Um, Muscatine, Muscatine. Have you ever
Yeah,
heard of it?
sounds familiar, actually.
I think it. Oh, you know why?
Hmm.
It's not too far from the. Just look. I'm looking it up on Google Maps right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's by the Iowa 80, the world's largest truck stop.
Ah, there you go. Yes. That's why
Yeah,
it sounds familiar.
I know. It is just a little south of that. It's I think,
Okay.
is that the Mississippi River that runs through there? It's got to be. It's like right
It's
along the.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know
I
what
mean,
river that is.
that's a bit farther in, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little south of the truck stop, but yeah, it's like a little bit southwest of there, but yeah, right on the Illinois and Iowa border is where it
Right.
is.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, so I'm like, well, we're not recording tomorrow. And when I looked at it, I'm like, it's this little, I don't know, this little small-ish place, but I mean, it actually would have been plenty. I mean, I could have actually worked from there. It's got Wi-Fi and cable, Ethernet connection, the whole bit. I think it's got a rooftop like patio right off of the place. It's above,
Huh?
this lady's got a business, and it's like, so it's in this kind of like brick building type of thing. But anyhow, it's right by the river, but there's other places. I'm like, well, fuck it, I might do it. So
Yeah.
um, I just need to keep an eye on the weather, because it looks like if it's going to be, if it's fucking rain and thunderstorms, I'm not going to drive 4 hours away to sit in the fucking rain.
Right.
I can do that here. Yeah. But anyhow, freedom. Like little.
Yes.
It's not a ton of money, and I can afford it, and why the fuck not? But
Right. And be sure to stop at the truck stop because it's kind of cool.
yeah, you know what? And I think that I'll have to take a look. But I mean, by all means, if I'm going to be that close, I didn't even know. I was going to scroll up a little bit to see what else was there. And then I saw that. I'm like, well, that's what you fucking know. I mean,
Right.
it just makes perfect sense.
Yep.
So okay, I'm going to pick out one more from here, just random. I have no idea what this is. Eh. I don't even like that. Well, maybe not. I don't even like that one. Did we talk about choices and consequences at all, or no, or the conflict between them?
I'm in a roundabout way, plenty of times, but
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
this is what I wrote down. I said, let's talk about. I literally wrote down, let's talk about choices and consequences. Hey,
All
Mike.
right.
But in parentheses, I have both positive and negative choices have consequences. True.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the difference in our choices and consequences before and after we got sober. Okay.
Right.
So, and once again, I mean, what considers to be, I guess, the point with this, which made me think about it, and I want to say kind of fuck with my brain a little bit, but a little bit is thinking that even when we choose something positive, it could still have a negative consequence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense, or maybe negative to somebody else. So I don't know. I won't go into
Yeah.
it too much, but
Yeah,
so what do you
that
think about?
definitely.
Okay, so choices and consequences. I don't know, just in a general sense, prior and now. Do you think? Obviously, I'm guessing you feel better about choices and consequences now, right?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Right. Well, I mean, you kind of alluded to it. Right. Every choice we make has a consequence to it.
Right.
That's just the way things are. Right. Every time, everything we choose to do, there's going to be some sort of, equal reaction to it. So if it's a good thing, probably get some good stuff. If it's a bad thing, you're probably going to get some bad stuff.
Right.
Right. And I liked where you said, maybe our good choices are bad consequences for other people. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that person that was enabling and controlling and all that. Right. We choose to get sober and hmm, some bad consequences for some other people. But in the grand scheme of things, doing good things and doing positive things, yeah, makes our little corner of the world a better place. So that's and if that makes someone else uncomfortable to be in that corner of the world, there's lots of other corners of this world to go be in. Full of shit and misery. Go be in one of
Right.
those.
Right. Well, and yeah, as you were talking about that, I mean, both of us have had to make some choices, like, let's say
Mm-hmm.
relationships that I don't necessarily mean, male, female or
Right.
romantic relationships,
Right.
but, both of us have had to, for no better way to put it, cut some people off since we got
Yep.
sober or walk away from some people or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case may be. And who
Put more
knows?
distance, right? If
Yeah, put
nothing
more
else.
distance. Yeah, if
Yeah.
nothing else, or not be around them as much, or not be as
Mm-hmm.
open with them, whatever the case
Mm-hmm.
may be.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, granted, that's a choice that has consequences that can feel even negative, maybe to us to begin with.
Sure.
I think,
Yeah.
because it hurts. I don't want to walk away from somebody that I,
Right.
care about or we're friends with or whatever the case
Mm-hmm.
is. And God forbid, yeah, if it's somebody of a, if it's a romantic type of situation,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, I talked about it a couple of times that a couple of people I've just had to say, you know what, if I know you're drinking or you have been or whatever the case is or this and
Mm-hmm.
this, and if this is the case and if you don't want help, I got to go,
Yeah.
and that first time that happened, it was the hardest thing, that
Mm-hmm.
I ever had to do. Yeah, probably one of the hardest things sober, because I'm like, fuck, I knew what the right thing was, but I'm like, I don't want to walk away from this shit.
Right.
But yeah, but the other thing too is that I'm sure I mean, our choices, like you said, in the relationship, like Gary's story, thankfully it didn't happen with them, but
Mm-hmm.
one person gets sober and then you don't have that person taken care of, and that positive sober person's choices passed on a negative consequence for the other person,
Right.
which is weird, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but it's negative only to them in the sense that they're not willing to change and
Right.
they're continuing to make choices in their lives, and they're getting the consequences of that. They're choosing not to change, they're choosing not to be supportive, they're choosing not to realize that things are different, and so yes, then they have their consequences of that. And yeah, sometimes it's yeah, you're doing the right thing and the other person doesn't like that.
Right.
So that's their choice and their consequences. And yeah, we all affect each other. Um, yes, like you said, I gotta walk away and it makes me sad and it hurts and it's difficult, but it's the best thing for me in the long run. And I've got to remember that, a little bit of pain now is a hell of a lot better than a whole lot of pain for a long time in the future. No, thank
Right.
you.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, we've been pretty open, on here about our family, which I mean, this side of the family has become yours for
Mm-hmm.
almost all the years that you've been sober. So it's you've gotten to experience the positiveness, the same as both of us have that
Mm-hmm.
we are. And I'll say, I won't even say lucky. I'll just say fortunate that we've had our family and our the those people that are close around us that are family. It's crazy to me how sometimes, I mean, crazy in a good way, how supportive everyone is when you hear some
Right.
of the stories out there. And I feel for people that even when they've done the work, they've done all this stuff, and they can't get the family back. Granted, time takes time and all that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it all comes around, sometimes it never does. But
Right.
that's why I say fortunate. I mean, everyone, all the people that you and I fucked over.
Right.
And I'm not laughing at the fact of what we did, but it's crazy to me, that I mean, all these people, that have thankfully gave us an opportunity. And yeah, I mean, all it's going to take. What did you say? 20 seconds, right? For the
Yep.
plunger to hit, or to down half a bottle of whatever, and we can take it all away. We have
Mm-hmm.
that. We have the power and the freedom to take it all away too.
Yes, we do. Choices and consequences.
And on that note, I don't think there's nothing that can top that. So you know what,
Nope.
Mike? I think it's your turn.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, go out and do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody you did it. Now it's time, kids. It is that time. Good Lord, it's that time. It's time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
What did you say? Good Lord, is it that time to
Yes, it
fuck off?
is.
Yeah, it is. It's 8:27 real time,
Yep.
7:27 here in the central, and yeah, it's I don't have much to do, with this tonight, but I know it's late for both of us. So
Yep.
I don't know. Once
And we
again,
still get to get up and go to work tomorrow.
yeah, exactly. I've got a short day tomorrow. Who knows? I might drive to fucking Iowa tomorrow, but
Nice.
I don't know. It is what it is. But I think we've done good work here.
Yes, we have.
Some goddamn good work.
Right.
Yeah, what the fuck ever, right? All right, everyone. You know what, Mike? I'll talk to you soon, I think.
Yes, you will.
And I love you, brother.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.